There's nothing worse than giving your best to a woman who isn't fully with you. You feel it in the silence, in the way her energy drifts, in the little details that don't make sense. And here's the danger. If you pretend not to notice, you don't save the relationship. You just sacrifice yourself. That's how men end up blindsided, wondering how long they've been living in a shadow while she kept one foot in the past. But the truth is, she can't hide forever. Her actions betray her before her words ever will. And if you know what to watch for, you'll see it all. Today, I'm going to reveal the 7 signs she's still with her ex. And by the end, you'll trust your instincts instead of second-guessing yourself. Before I walk you through these 7 revealing signs, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and let me know what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this message is reaching, and I'm genuinely glad to see this community growing stronger every day. What I'm about to show you in the very first sign will feel uncomfortably familiar. If you've ever wondered whether her past is really behind her, number 1, the sudden makeover that isn't about you, look closely because appearance is rarely random. When a woman reinvents her look overnight, new hair, new wardrobe, new scent, a gym routine that appears out of nowhere, you're not just seeing style, you're seeing strategy. Change requires energy, and energy follows emotion. If that emotion isn't flowing toward you, it's flowing somewhere else. The problem isn't the haircut, it's the hidden audience she's performing for. Here's how it works psychologically. We all seek resonance. We adjust how we look to match the room we want to walk into. If she's polishing a version of herself that you didn't request and don't recognize, she may be aligning with a memory, a fantasy, or a person who once validated her. That doesn't prove betrayal, but it does signal redirected attention. Your mistake would be to dismiss it as she just wants a change. Men do that because denial feels safer than doubt. So what do you do instead? Stop guessing. Start mapping. First, establish a baseline. What changed? How fast? And when? Jot it down. New fragrance twice this week. New leggings and late-night workouts started 2 Fridays ago. Wardrobe shift from cozy to club. Patterns beat gut feelings. Then test direction, not intensity. Invite her into your world and watch the calibration. Plan a date that reflects your shared rhythm, your music, your spot, your inside jokes. If the makeover quiets around you but spikes when she's out with the girls, you've learned the target of the performance. No confrontation needed, just observation. Next, use the curiosity frame. You're not the cop, you're the mirror. Say, I noticed you've been switching up your style. What inspired it? Then listen for specifics. Healthy change comes with a story. New project, new hobby, new season of life. Vague answers and quick defensiveness signal that the story lives somewhere you're not invited. Finally, make a micro boundary that protects your mind. For example, I love growth. I also value transparency. If big changes are happening, I need to understand how we fit into them. Calm, clear, and adult. You're not policing, you're positioning. A partner who's aligned will lean in. A partner who's elsewhere will flinch. Here's the wake-up call. Attraction upgrades are normal. Secrecy upgrades are not. When appearance evolves without relational explanation, the makeover is a message. And if you're paying attention, you'll realize that surface signals love the spotlight, but real secrets prefer the dark. And guess where those deeper secrets like to hide? Right there inside her phone. Number 2, when her phone becomes a vault you can't access. Let's get real. Technology doesn't lie. If a makeover is what you can see, the phone is where the truth hides. That small glowing screen is either a tool for connection or a vault for secrets. I've seen it countless times. A woman who used to toss her phone on the couch now carries it like a lifeline. She sets new passwords, angles the screen away from you, and jumps when you walk by. Suddenly, messages vanish, call logs reset, and her notifications go silent. That isn't privacy, that's secrecy. And secrecy always tells a story. Take David's story. He's 45, a construction manager, a man who built skyscrapers yet almost missed the cracks in his own home. His wife started keeping her phone face down, taking it into the bathroom, changing passwords she'd once shared. When he asked why, she brushed it off with work stuff. You wouldn't understand, but what hit him hardest was when the message history disappeared every single night. That wasn't work. That was a pattern. Here's the psychology. The phone has become the modern diary. But unlike a diary, it's not locked away in a drawer. It's with her all the time. A partner who's open doesn't need to guard it like it's state secrets. When she shields it constantly, she's not protecting her calendar. She's protecting conversations she doesn't want you to see. But here's the smart play. You don't storm in demanding to read it. You track the shift. Compare how she used to treat her phone with how she treats it now. Did she once laugh when you read a funny text over her shoulder? Did she used to leave it charging on the kitchen counter without a thought? That's your baseline. Now watch how far she's moved from it. Second, test transparency. Ask casually texting. A secure partner answers easily, maybe even shares the screen. A defensive one snaps, deflects, or accuses you of being controlling. Her reaction is the data. Third, protect your frame. Say it clearly. I respect privacy, but secrecy isn't the same thing. If I feel shut out completely, that creates distance I can't ignore. You're not accusing, you're stating reality. And then comes the hard part. Decide your threshold. Every man has to know how much secrecy he can tolerate before it eats away at his peace. One locked screen might not mean betrayal, but if secrecy keeps piling up, it's not your job to prove her innocence. It's her job to show alignment. Here's what you need to remember. Phones don't betray people. Patterns do. When you keep finding yourself excusing those patterns, you're not protecting her privacy. You're protecting yourself from the truth. And that truth doesn't stay locked inside a device. Because the moment those digital walls go up, the fallout doesn't just show up on her phone. It starts showing up in the most personal space of all, your closeness with her. Number 3, the sudden shift in closeness you can't explain. Closeness never lies. A woman's touch, her tone, her willingness to connect with you, it all reveals where her emotions are anchored. So, when that closeness suddenly changes, whether it's shutting down into cold distance or flaring up into unusual passion, you're not just noticing mood swings, you're seeing the signals her heart is sending out. Most men make the same mistake. They blame themselves first. You tell yourself, maybe I'm less attractive now, or maybe work stress killed the mood. And yes, sometimes life does get in the way. But when the shift is sharp and doesn't match her usual rhythm, you can't afford to ignore it. Here's the psychology. Intimacy is an emotional mirror. When she feels bonded to you, connection flows naturally. When her emotions are pulled elsewhere, that mirror cracks. Suddenly, she's full of excuses. I'm tired. I've had a long day. Not tonight. And if those excuses pile up without any effort to reconnect, it's not just exhaustion. It's redirection. The opposite extreme can be just as revealing. Suddenly she's more intense, more daring, almost like she's overcompensating. That's often guilt-talking. She's trying to cover the distance with performance. But passion born out of guilt is temporary. It burns bright, then it burns out, leaving you with questions she doesn't want to answer. So, how do you respond? First, stop taking it as a hit to your worth. When you internalize it, you shrink, and shrinking only widens the gap. Second, measure consistency, not frequency. Ask yourself, does her closeness come with warmth, laughter, and ease, or does it feel mechanical, like a switch being flipped? That's the difference between connection and cover-up. Third, invite openness without pressure. Say, I've noticed we feel out of sync lately. What's been on your mind? A partner who's invested leans in. A partner who's drifting away shuts down or gets defensive. That reaction gives you more truth than words ever could. Finally, take back your side of the bond. Focus on your own health, confidence, and purpose. Attraction is a two-way street, but clarity about yourself always puts you back in the driver's seat. Here's what you need to understand. Closeness doesn't just shift for no reason. It either fades when her energy is going elsewhere or flares up unnaturally when guilt is at work. If you feel that connection no longer belongs to just you, that's not insecurity. It's awareness. And once that awareness kicks in, you'll start noticing the next layer of truth. When the space between you and bed grows wider, you'll soon see the same kind of distance showing up in her schedule. Number 4, the mysterious disappearances that don't add up. Absence has its own language. When a woman starts disappearing behind the same vague excuses with friends, working late, family stuff, but the details never stick, You're not being paranoid. You're picking up on the script she's rehearsing. Take Michael's story. He's 52, a businessman who makes a living spotting inconsistencies in contracts and numbers. Yet, he ignored the inconsistencies at home. His girlfriend began making vague plans. I'm seeing a friend. I've got family things. At first, Michael didn't question it, but as the absences piled up, the explanations thinned out. One evening, she claimed she was with her best friend. Later, in a casual conversation, Michael mentioned it to that same friend. Her blank look said it all. She hadn't seen her in weeks. In that instant, Michael realized he hadn't been listening to the facts. He'd been listening to his own hope. And hope can lie to you when you want too badly to believe it. Here's the psychology. Vagueness is a shield. People who weave half-truths depend on it. They know that a lack of detail discourages questions. Patterns emerge. Answers that never match. Timelines that shift. Irritation when you push for clarity. The defensiveness is part of the disguise. So what's the smarter move? You don't interrogate, you observe. Run what I call the detail test. Ask a simple, neutral follow-up like, how was it? Or, where exactly did you go? A genuine partner answers easily, sometimes even with small stories. Someone hiding something reacts with impatience or pivots away. The way she answers tells you more than the content. Next, track consistency. If she says she worked late, does her energy match someone who just slogged through extra hours? If she claims a family emergency, do her emotions line up with that story? When the storyline doesn't match the state she's in, that's not coincidence, it's exposure. Another key, stop filling in the blanks for her. Too many men excuse vagueness by writing their own version of events. She must have been busy. Don't build her alibi for her. Let the silence stand. Over time, the emptiness in her answers becomes obvious, even to her. Say it clearly, not aggressively. When plans are vague or always shifting, it makes me feel out of sync. I don't want to feel left guessing. You're not accusing. You're setting a boundary. A secure partner responds with reassurance. A drifting one resents the question. Here's the truth. Absence without clarity is presence with someone else. When she guards her whereabouts more fiercely than she guards her bond with you, that's not independence, it's distance, and distance always has a source. The temptation will be to catch her in a lie to prove what you already sense. But proof doesn't always come in dramatic moments. Proof is a pattern. A relationship built on vagueness isn't one that gives you trust. You don't need her confession to know you're being shut out. The silence already confessed it for her. And here's where the story often takes its sharpest turn. If she's vague about her time, start paying attention to who keeps showing up in her conversations. Because the person she's truly consistent with might just be the man you thought was out of her life. Number 5, when her past keeps showing up in the present. Some women will tell you, we're just friends now, when it comes to their ex. And on the surface, that might sound harmless. But look deeper at the pattern. If she's texting him constantly, taking his calls at odd hours, or weaving his name into conversations with you, her past isn't in the past. It's sitting right between you. Here's the catch. Staying friendly with an ex isn't always a red flag. What matters is the intensity and the secrecy. If the connection is casual, open, and respectful, you'll know it. But if she hides her conversations, if she lights up at his name, or if she compares you to him, then the friendship isn't neutral. It's emotional gravity pulling her backward. Think about it this way. If she's reliving old memories and replaying old jokes, it isn't just nostalgia. It's her keeping that bond alive. And the more she keeps it alive, the more your relationship starts competing with a ghost you didn't invite into your home. So, what do? First, don't explode in jealousy. That only fuels the secrecy. Instead, study the pattern. Is the contact frequent? Is it emotional? Does it spike when things get tense between you? Those are your answers. Second, test the transparency. Ask her directly but calmly. How do you feel about staying close with him? Where do you see that fitting into our relationship? A woman who's truly moved on will answer without hesitation. A woman still tangled up will get defensive or vague. Third, watch how she uses his name. If she brings him up to share a harmless story, fine. But if she slips him into conversations to compare, he used to do this, or you don't do it like he did. She's showing you her mental scoreboard. And no man should stay in a game where the referee is still rooting for the other team. Finally, set your standard without apology. You don't have to demand she cut him off. You only have to state clearly what works for you. I'm building something new. If the past is still taking priority, then we're not aligned. That's not control, that's clarity. And clarity is your power. Here's the reality check. When a woman can't let go of an old relationship, she's telling you where her emotional loyalty is anchored. She might say you're her present, but if her words and actions are still feeding her past, you're standing in a triangle, not a partnership. And once you see that triangle, you'll also start noticing how her emotions toward you rise and fall in unpredictable ways. Because when someone lives in two worlds, their moods are never steady. They're split. Number 6, the emotional storms that come out of nowhere. A healthy relationship has rhythm. You know her moods, she knows yours, and even when life gets messy, there's a steady baseline. But when a woman swings wildly, picking fights over nothing, then flipping to cheerful without explanation, you're not dealing with random emotions. You're witnessing the fallout of a divided heart. Tom knows this too well. He's 41, recently divorced, and he told me about the chaos that lived in his home long before the paperwork was signed. His wife would snap at him for the smallest things, forgetting to close a cabinet, coming home 10 minutes late. The next day, she'd be uncharacteristically upbeat, glowing, as if nothing had happened. Tom blamed himself, thought he was failing her. Only later did he realize the truth. She wasn't fighting him. She was fighting her own guilt for living two lives at once. That's the psychology at play. Unstable emotions often come from internal conflict. When she's torn between what she's hiding and the role she's playing with you, it leaks out. The guilt shows up as irritation. The thrill of secrecy shows up as sudden joy. And you standing in the middle start to feel like you're walking on eggshells in your own home. So how do you respond? First, stop treating every outburst as if it's about you. When you personalize her chaos, you lose perspective. Second, track the cycle. Does her irritation flare up at predictable times? After certain absences? After certain phone calls? After certain unexplained smiles? Emotional patterns reveal hidden behaviors. Third, anchor yourself. When she tries to drag you into a shouting match, don't bite. Stay calm. Say, I can see you're upset. I'm willing to talk when we're both ready. That single move exposes whether her reaction was about you or about something she doesn't want to admit. Fourth, set the frame. Calm doesn't mean passive. It means you draw a line. If every week feels like a new storm, we need to figure out why. If the cause isn't clear, we can't build trust. A partner who's invested will want to resolve it. A partner who's hiding will avoid it. Either way, you get your clarity. Here's the wake-up call. Her mood swings aren't random. They're emotional smoke signals. And when the smoke keeps filling the room, there's usually a fire burning somewhere else. And remember this, sometimes you don't even need psychology to read the truth because the body leaves traces that the mind can't hide. And those traces are the hardest ones to explain away. Number 7, the strange sense and marks you can't ignore. Sometimes the truth doesn't whisper, it clings. It clings to her clothes, her hair, her skin. You catch a whiff of cologne that isn't yours. You notice the smell of smoke when you don't smoke. Or you spot marks and traces that don't fit any story she can give you. These are the moments most men want to wave away. But ignoring them doesn't protect your peace. It destroys it. Here's the reality. Our senses are built to detect change. If you smell something different, it's because something is different. You don't have to invent explanations or gaslight yourself into believing you imagined it. If your gut catches it, it matters. Psychologically, small physical cues are often the loudest evidence. Why? Because they're harder to manage. She can control her words, delete her texts, and rehearse her excuses, but she can't fully erase the scent that lingers, or the small physical inconsistencies that show up after time spent elsewhere. So what do? First, don't dismiss your instincts. If something feels off, take it seriously. Second, connect the dots. A single, unexplained scent could be coincidence. But when it pairs with the secrecy, the absences, the mood swings, you're no longer dealing with coincidence. You're dealing with confirmation. Third, stay clear in your response. You don't have to accuse, but you also don't have to ignore. A calm line works best. I've noticed some things that don't add up and I need clarity. You're not demanding proof. You're demanding honesty. Fourth, know your line in the sand. When the physical signs start stacking up, denial is no longer a shield. It's a trap. At that point, you have to decide whether you're protecting the relationship or just protecting your fear of losing it. Here's the hard truth. When evidence shows up on her body, it's no longer just suspicion. It's reality pressing into your face, and the question is, no longer is something happening. The real question becomes, what am I going to do about it? Because once you've seen the full pattern, all 7 signs, the final step isn't about decoding her anymore. It's about protecting you. Now you've seen the 7 signs, from the sudden makeover to the phone that turned into a vault, to the shift in closeness, the unexplained absences, the constant presence of the ex, the emotional storms, and finally, the physical traces that can't be denied. But before you rush to a verdict, remember this. 1 or 2 of these signs alone might not tell the full story. Stress, routine, even personal growth can explain a single change. What matters is the pattern. The way multiple signs start lining up like pieces of a puzzle. That's when the picture becomes too clear to ignore. Here's the truth most men avoid. The real danger isn't being betrayed. The real danger is betraying yourself by pretending not to see it. You can lie to yourself for comfort, but every day you do, you lose respect for yourself. And without self-respect, no relationship can stand. So what's the right move? Talk to her directly, not with anger, not with accusations, but with clarity. Say, here's what I've noticed. Here's how it makes me feel, and here's what I need in order to move forward. If she leans in, if she chooses honesty, then maybe there's something worth salvaging. But if she resists, deflects, or dismisses your clarity, then she's already answered you without saying a word, and then it's on you. Because at the end of the day, you have a choice. Do you keep playing the role of a backup plan in her unfinished story? Or do you walk away to protect your dignity, your peace, and your future? That decision is where your power lies. Every man deserves a relationship that is whole, not half. A woman who is present, not divided. A love that is true, not borrowed from the past. If your gut already knows the truth, then don't let fear hold you hostage. Choose yourself. That's how you win. Now it's your turn. Share your story in the comments. Have you ever seen these signs before? Hit the like button if this gave you clarity and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you know a man who needs this message, share it with him because the truth might sting, but it's better than living blind.